Welcome. This is the Inner Enlightenment Show, and I'm your host, Laurie Schoenfeld. Today we have Dr. Sheryl L. White Barnes joining with us today, talking all about joy in serving with purpose. I'm extremely excited to have her joining us today. She is a very multi-talented woman. She's the CEO and president of Sterling-Xavier Consulting. She also is an author, a speaker, and an ordained minister. I'm super excited to learn about how every one of these beautiful pieces has been a big part of her journey of where she is today. And welcome, Sheryl. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. We chatted back and forth, so I'm excited too.
I've just been following you for a while, and I love Sheryl's energy, her grace and love. She just has so much radiating off of her, which you'll be able to get a beautiful feel as she's talking today to you. Thank you also to the viewers who are joining us today, either live or on replay. We really appreciate you being here with us and spending your Monday with us. So welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to turn it right over to you, Sheryl. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about who you are right now in this moment and what you're up to in the world.
Okay, thank you. And again, Lori, this is such an honor. We were saying before the show started, I feel like I've known you for a while, but we've only met through Facebook. And
Yes.
So just thank you for this platform and a chance to talk about joy and serving and purpose. Where am I right now? In a deep, deep place of gratitude. I am enjoying my life differently. I've always been pretty optimistic and looked on the bright side of things. But this year in particular, maybe for about the last year, I desired something deeper spiritually and pursued the relationship I've had with God since I was a little girl. But I believe that I just wanted to go deeper. I really wanted to know how to stay longer in places of calm and peace and genuine joy. And I wanted to work on my attitude and or mood swings. So right now, if someone said, "Where are you?" I'd say I'm in a place of wonder and awe about the beauty of life and the beauty of people, and I'm in a place of gratitude.
I love that. We were talking a little bit about that before we got started on the show, of just being very present in the moment and looking at what is continually working rather than what is not. And so I love that you are in that journey and that you're diving deeper. I love too that you brought up deeper into spirituality, because I think there's so many layers to us as humans.
Yes.
And so much more that we can connect to when we look inward. And so that was just a beautiful journey. I could feel that when you were talking about where you're at in that journey of your life.
Yeah.
So tell us how you got started being a CEO and president for Sterling-Xavier and what that looks like.
Well, I am the second oldest of four girls. So my three sisters would tell you that I was my older one in particular, because my younger sisters probably were not yet born, but I was a CEO as a child and an entrepreneur. So I was always making things, selling things, designing cards and having carnivals in the backyard. And I knew what profit margin was at an early age. I'd buy a pack of gum and then sell the individual sticks marked up. So I always liked business. I liked the idea of going home and counting my money and then giving my little sisters an allowance. So I think some people are born entrepreneurs, and that actually runs on both my dad's side and my mom's side. So, but probably more to what you meant. After I graduated undergraduate, I have a BA in psychology. I immediately started an ad agency, which doesn't make a lot of sense. My degree was in psychology, But again, I think I was an artist in my heart and a business person. And so my family thought I was a little crazy. And then I started making money, and then they stopped laughing. And and so the journey, probably the entrepreneurial, formal entrepreneurial part of my life dates back to right after I got out of college, having my own graphic design firm, then ad agency, and then consulting firm, and then another consulting firm. So my current company has been around in different versions for more than 30 years now. It has changed where I quit doing some of the graphic design and moved more into consulting. And in the last few years, more in coaching, coaching other people. So that sort of overlaps with the ministry, which I've been in ministry for over 20 years now. So they just complement ministering to someone and coaching them to be their best self and using spiritual principles. Being your best self is not following the latest trends necessarily. You may need to be mindful of them, but it's deeper work. It's work about purpose, and I know we're gonna talk about that.
Yes, my heart really resonated with yours on the young entrepreneur. Like I just saw you because I did this. I did very similar things. We'd have performances in our backyard, and I was like, I was a stage manager, but I was also the act. And then I would like tell my cousins and my siblings like they had a part, and they had like a week and a half to like practice and perform. And then we'd sell tickets to like our family and our neighbors and put on this whole production from very young. So
Yeah.
I saw you in that moment, like, yes, entrepreneur young. That's
Yeah.
so fun. Going into ministry, see, now you got me crying happy tears. Like I have to, it's good. It's good. Thank you. When you talked about ministry and tying that to life coaching, I would really love for you to go more in depth to what that looks like, of how your service with ministry taught you different ways to show up for people in life coaching.
Okay, well, I guess as far as a framework, I'm a Christian, and so grew up in, my parents taking us to church, and then when I got older, I kind of thought I was cool and kind of left the church and kind of found I wasn't doing so well and made my way back and wanted to know more about the Christ who I served. And as I have studied him and continued, so radical, so radical. I'm like, wow, just an amazing person who loves people deeply. Radical for his time and who he engaged and how deeply he loved them, loved everyone. Women, folk from the wrong side of the track, tax collectors, people who would be dismissed and dishonored. So I could really resonate with a love that really was unconditional.
Yeah.
So how that affects what I do now is I really see all people, regardless of what they believe. I get that's their individual choice. I see the Imago Dei, that they are made in my view, my faith system. Every person is made in the image of God. So I see the divinity in people. Even sometimes I think when they don't see it in themselves. And so it's just because I see God in people. And so I'm inspired through my faith for them to know that they are valuable for that reason alone. And you saw my credentials. I have 5 earned college degrees. I work for them. I enjoy that process. I am not my degrees. And I'm married to a wonderful person who's a minister, and I am not my marital status. I'm something that I was before any of that. And to me, that's the spiritual DNA of God, his fingerprint, his heartbeat. And that's what I see in other people. And that excites me when I see their greatness, and I want them to see it too, and give themselves permission to be quiet and to listen to their heart, because who they really are is within them, but sometimes it's covered up by culture, socioeconomics, other people's opinion. maybe even things their own family has taught them. And so, not to dishonor maybe what family has taught, because it's good and bad, but to go deeper and say, who am I at my core? And I think when people do that, they are unique, one of a kind, and there is not another person in the universe like them, and that makes them rare and precious.
I see that very much about you, and I love that you just radiate unconditional love and you just hold space for people and appreciate them for exactly who they are. And I felt that very instantly the minute that we met. That's such a beautiful gift that you give so many. So thank you
Thank
for
you. I
being
felt that
you.
for you too. I'm like, wow, who is this person? So it's mutual. That's the energy that you give out. So I very much appreciate meeting you, and I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't.
Absolutely agree with you. Did you feel this way since you were a little kid? Because you said since you were young that you've always had a connection to God.
Yeah. I think I always have. I remember a true story. There was a girl I remember her name, but I won't say her full name because I don't know where she is, but children would make fun of her. We were in elementary school, so maybe third grade, fourth grade, and I was going to Sunday school learning about Jesus, right? And they would make fun of her. Her clothes were dingy. Sometimes her hair had not been combed, and I distinctly remember befriending her. And as children would laugh at her or make fun of her clothes being dirty, I would tell them something we learned in Sunday school. How did they know? How could they be sure that she was not an angel in disguise? I must have scared the daylights. I scared the children. They left her alone and me too. But my thing was that no one has a right to make fun of another child. And I just remember being her friend until they sent us to another elementary school. So I think that was a God encounter. I think that was my childlike way of embracing what I was being taught. That you don't only befriend the children who dress nice or live in a certain kind of home or have the best candy, although, sometimes those are the people you pick to be your friends. But I really think that teaching at an early age opened something up in my heart. And I knew it was wrong for them to mistreat her. So yeah, I think seeds are there in children very young. You're not born hating. You're not. Often it has to be taught. You have to learn that. We're not born perfect, but I think a lot of really bad things that get reinforced don't have to be. There's a pushback. There's another narrative that children can learn, and if it's nurtured, and in my home it was, you grow up seeing people in a more holistic, spiritual. They have value in that kind of a way. And that comes and goes. You're not always there. Peer pressure, getting older, wanting to fit in, different things. But that core, the spiritual upbringing and the core and the reinforcement to love others was always there in my home.
I love that so much. It reminds me of when I was a kid, I was in 8th grade. I grew up in a very abusive home. And so I had someone very similar, like how you showed up for this girl, do something very similar for me, where she'd bring makeup to kind of cover up my spots, and she would bring the in pants so that I felt like I had something that didn't make me feel so awkward and so alone. And like she really helped me to feel with her that I was seen and appreciated. And she wasn't looking away, where sometimes I got people looking away and didn't want to ask the questions. No, you knew that they were there. She had seen me. And that was a very huge moment in my life of almost doing the domino effect, when someone shows up for you and you see the way they see you, even if you don't see that in yourself, it definitely sparks something in you of, I want to feel more of that. I want to be that kind of person for someone else. And then the domino effect continues on with showing that light and that goodness that people don't see in them, that you see in them. So
Yeah, I think that's very much connected to, and I know that not everybody has maybe that kind of sensitivity, and it doesn't mean that they don't like people. I think this ties to purpose. I think some of us are given a different measure of
Yes.
that kind of sensitivity, and there's evidence all the way back in our childhood of what our purpose is. And sometimes we don't see it because it feels second nature to us. But when you go looking for your purpose, there are trace elements of who you are all over your life. It keeps showing up. If there are people who love you and who are close to you, they can say, well, you were always curious, or you were always sensitive to music, or you always looked after animals. And so then that would explain maybe the pull for you to go into veterinary medicine or want to build buildings and be an architect. You were always building things. And so when I think of serving, joyfully in purpose, I think the first thing is to understand that everybody has a purpose. And the tendency to want to go look and take an inventory and a survey and a questionnaire, I'm not knocking that, but there really is evidence all over everyone's life of what they are called to address because it brings them joy. And the flip side is when it's not being addressed, they feel pain. And hence the word compassion. Compassion, to be with you in your suffering. Well, what would that have to do with joy and purpose? Because it's the other side of the same coin. I love it when people see how amazing they are just because that's how God made them. And the other side is it's painful for me when they don't. So the compassion makes me want to sit with them in the pain of their not knowing until they see it for themselves. And that's the joy of walking and serving in purpose.
Yes. So do you feel like when you meet people in your ministry and also in life coaching, do you notice that a lot of people come to you trying to be what they think they should be or they should be, and maybe they knew a little bit of their purpose, but hasn't necessarily tapped into it 100% because there's a lot of cultural beliefs of what they think they need to be acceptable or enough or valued? Do you see that?
I do. I actually see both, Lori. And for me, ministry and work are one and the same. That wasn't always true. I just am a minister. I just am. It's like saying, well, when you're a woman versus when you're a mother, well, I'm always a mom and I'm always a woman. And so now those have so fused together that I can't separate them. And so treating people kind is ministry. Yes, I preach. Yes, I teach the word and do Bible studies. But talking to you, this feels like ministry because I'm in the presence of someone that God created and loved me enough to let me meet her. So I'm pretty excited. That's how I see that. But to answer the question, sometimes people come to me because they're excited and they know that they need to be held accountable because coaching is about creating synergy. It's something you want to do. Maybe you're struggling with staying accountable to yourself, or you're blocked in some way and you can't put your finger on it. Sometimes they come because they have 3,452 million good ideas. Work on them, setting some priorities, and they're taking smaller steps to have some successes. So people come for different reasons, but what I find interesting is that about 90% of the time in our first session, when I say, okay, so, what are we going to be working on? And they realize that it is totally and completely about them. I am not the expert. I'm skilled and I'm gifted and I'm anointed to help them, but they are the center of the coaching. Usually people weep. They just are so used to taking care of other people or fitting some mold, some job description, something in their head that when the space is made for us to talk about what's in their heart, what would they like for their life to really look like? It's very emotional. And I'm honored that a space has been created, first of all, for them to feel safe enough to weep and not feel embarrassed by that, because often they'll apologize. So people come for different reasons, but the more I do this, the more I'm honored to do work where someone could sit in the middle of attention about what's going on in their heart, what they have not addressed, what they have not spoken, what they no longer give themselves permission to even say, this is what I really want to do. So they come for different reasons. But the journey, surprisingly, is very similar. Stand in your truth, sit in your truth, because sometimes they can't stand. But start with just telling the truth about what you feel, and then what you want, and then maybe opening up to the possibility that yes, you can have it. So we push back against paradigms on why they can't. They're too old, they waited too late, all of the different things. We dismantle or challenge those one by one.
I love how you mentioned them feeling permission to really ask for the things that their heart is deeply wanting and yearning, and voicing it is such a powerful thing as well, because it's first step is awareness of giving permission and acknowledging, and then voicing, oh, is this okay? This is what I want to be. This is what I'm feeling. This is my truth, rather than this thing that I've held of I'm too old, or I'm not capable, or I'm not valued as their truth, but really is the lie that they've held, but they felt is that truth for them. And stepping into, who are you really? Like, what were you sent here to do?
Yes.
Like, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, with your business, do you do life coaching? And I saw that you do strategic planning and brainstorming. So is it, explain to us, I'd love to hear kind of the process of what different areas you specifically like to sit and hold space and support your clients in.
Actually, strategic planning is more often for companies, for teams, for corporations, but it's a very similar process for an individual. In a nutshell, you talk about your desired outcome, where you would like to be, a desired place for the company, for the church, for the organization. It's similar for a human being. What would you like for your life to look like? So that's kind of in the future. You can envision that. And then we work backwards, find out where you are now, and then the space in between in strategic planning, that's called a gap, and we do gap analysis. So there's very formal language around that's used in strategic planning, but it is identical because I do strategic success life coaching. Where is it that you want to be? If the person has come to me and that's the space they're in, they know they want to start a business, finish a book, write a book, do a podcast. I mean, sometimes they know. In other cases, they're here to see me because their life is hurting. So it's different. But it's in another way, it's like I want my life to not hurt. I want to not feel like a failure because I'm this age, or because I did this or I didn't do this. So it's very similar. We start with what's in their heart, or what is it that they want. And then there are different methods that I use, but often the most basic one is I'm usually listening. Why can't you have that? And they'll start to speak questionable truths, maybe something that's an untruth that society says. My dad always told me. My grandmother said, never marry a man younger than, it's come from somewhere, the culture. And so I'll ask, is that true? Are you sure? And just then they'll go like, and they'll realize maybe it's never been true. maybe it was true once upon a time and it's not true now. And so just gently peeling away the layers of beliefs that they hold. Sometimes it's still true for them, and
Mhm.
we come at it another way. So the process is similar, but so I do formal strategic planning for companies and organizations. Then I do life coaching, and then I coach in other ways. I hold retreats for women. There's a match. In fact, we're leaving this Friday. I do 3 and 4 day retreats for women. We just go to the Poconos and relax, all caps. Just relax, eat chef prepared meals, swim in the Olympic size pool, laugh, talk, dance. We have a high tea, so there's only one time when we get dressed up. Then we're back in the flip flops and shorts and swimsuits. And women come back. This is my third one. And because they often, women in particular, have not given themselves permission to stop working or to stop taking care of other people.
Yes.
So I love the retreats for that reason. No PowerPoint, no no Zoom, no handouts, just relaxing, and a very organic and natural conversations just flow naturally. We're not there to network, but networking occurs because you meet people that you want to stay in touch with. But
Mhm.
when the motive is you just need to be pampered and taken care of and have a massage and sit by the pool or in the pool or work out or play tennis or walk, something happens. Our culture is moving away from real rest. We are moving away from it. So people feel guilty
Mhm.
if they're not doing something. So I love the wellness work
Mhm.
that I do. And I'm hoping to expand that and take other groups of people.
I love that. And I would love to have a link on that information later because that, as you were talking, that feel of nurturing your
Mhm.
body and your mind, your heart, but adding in play and wonder and like the pause. There's so much work. Oftentimes we think if we take a break and we pause and we go into nurturing and play, that we're not doing anything. That's what a little societal belief that we've been told. But there's so much that your mind and your heart is actually doing of really bringing you inward to like, who are you really? Like, what do you really want? And processing that space of grounding and calm of
Mhm.
what that looks like for you. I love that so much.
It's a little slice of heaven. You
Mhm.
can't even hear what's in your heart if you're constantly posting, constantly scrolling, reading the news, the weather. You can't hear your heart.
Mhm.
You can't hear the spirit of God.
Yes.
And so when you're quiet, you hear self-loathing. You hear you're not enough. And so we don't deal with that necessarily in a formal way at the retreat. If it comes up through conversation, it does. But sometimes then after the retreat, then women are then they're open to coaching and to trusting what is in their heart and what they hear in their spirit. So they're just more open to it because they've had a chance to just rest. What a concept.
Mhm. Do you see when women have a chance to rest that they also release, which opens up that expansion of giving themselves permission and looking at things from a different perspective? Do you
Yeah,
see that?
absolutely. I give gift bags to the women that come. And one of the things that I always give is a journal. And some
Mhm.
of the women I've noticed, we were there in August, carried the journal everywhere and jotted things down. Others didn't. No judgment. No, I'm not giving you instructions to write down the first page of them. I'm going to leave you alone. Do your thing. But I noticed that one woman recently shared that something had been on her mind related to her business, and she got clarity while she was, with me on the retreat. So trusting the process of hearing and then creating a new practice of honoring what you hear enough that you write it down. You'll write down the teacher's name, you'll write down your dentist appointment, but we don't always write down a divine idea. And then you go to retrieve it, and it's been overrun by what's on sale and the storm that's coming in and bringing the chairs from the back. So learning even to honor ideas that you get and not dismiss them, not thinking it's nothing. It's the seed often of something that your heart has been trying to tell you for a while. It will come back and it's waiting just to be honored. So writing it down, you can save it safely until you're ready to come back and sit with it and listen.
Yes, yes. I do a lot of inner child work, and that's one of my favorite things is seeing women really tap into that play and that wonder and allow them to just be their beautiful, radiant, playful, energetic, loving, compassionate selves and really going to that space of being authentic and unfiltered and just letting go. It's such a beautiful space to see that just start to open up and continue to keep spreading outward and inward as well. So I'm going to send us right to the next segment for my inner child questions. I don't have a little bell, so this is like our little.
Okay.
Your first question is, if you could be an animal, what would you be and why?
And you sent these to me in advance, so I should really be prepared. So I was reviewing today. And my first answer was a chameleon. I always thought they were kind of cool because they could blend in. And there have been times where I wish I could be in a space and not have anyone size me up, stereotype, anything. I just could just blend in with the wall and enjoy the view or enjoy something without the noise and the chaos of other people's unaccepting energy. But then when I looked at it again, I said, the real answer is a bird. Because eagles, they soar so high. The view must be amazing. And then their wingspan, and so somewhere between a chameleon and an eagle, but I don't think I want to be a flying chameleon.
It's like trying to make a hybrid with a flying chameleon. That would be a little interesting. I love it.
Like a pterodactyl or something that's now extinct. I don't think it went well for flying reptiles, so I think I'll go with the bird. Yes, a bird.
I'm going to make you a meme with a flying reptile now because that's hilarious. That will be your spirit animal, Sheryl.
I wouldn't get any invitations to any more events, right? Children. Yeah, we'll just go with the bird.
The bird is perfect. Second question for you is, what is the oddest food combo you tried and liked or you just tried?
Oh, weirdest food combo. Okay. It probably is because I so really like cheese. My husband teases me, but I don't know if this is a weird combination. Okay, so cheese on just about anything. Cheese and garlic. I love garlic.
Ooh.
So something involving cheese, garlic, and hot sauce.
We're talking hot sauce. Are we talking like really how hot are we talking? Can you go like super red pepper hot or mild or how hot?
No, probably the kind you find in the store, but turned up a little bit. Not the kind that makes you cry and weep and sets your eyebrows on fire. Not quite that hot, but I like hot sauce. Probably the oddest would be hot sauce on popcorn. Maybe with some cheese on the side.
Okay, hot sauce on popcorn. I've never done that. So I'm going to try that and I'll tag you to see how that. So do you have any like reactions when you have hot sauce? Like does your nose run or do your eyes water or are you pretty?
Yeah, it opens up the sinuses. So yeah, there is I don't like like bawl and boo-hoo, but yeah, it does make
My nose runs.
yeah, it'll make me tear up a little bit the first few bites, and then my body says, "Oh yeah, we love this," and so then it's cool after that.
I love it. Your body's just ready. Like, we've got this now. We know what's
happening. Oh yeah, right.
Good. And third question: what simple things bring you joy?
I would have to say, aside from like my deep passions, which are people and seeing them have aha moments, I am really excited about when I get my coffee just right in the morning, when it's just the perfect amount of hazelnut creamer. I pour it into preheat the cup. I add a small amount of hazelnut creamer. I heat that up so that the coffee is not cooled down by the creamer. And I've almost perfected it. That first sip is joyful. It is really, so that's pretty basic. Other than something like that, a really good conversation with an interesting person, I lose track of time. I'm introverted, so I don't like big gatherings and I'm not comfortable with a lot of small talk. But a deep dive conversation with another person who is authentic and living their best life, I basically just sit and just listen to them. And I've had a few of those recently. I could not feel the passage of time. We were on the call for about an hour. And so really good conversation. That probably is a simple pleasure. I think it's underrated. And so listening is joyful for me and to me.
I don't know if you just saw the viewers, but your joy, Sheryl, while you was talking about that, I just felt that. It was so beautiful to just watch you in that space. So thank you for sharing your joys with us, as that just lit me up. And I'm sure there were many viewers that watched your smile and also felt that beautiful joy from you as well. So thank you. Where can they find you, our viewers, if they have any questions or would like any information on what you are doing within your business and your life right now?
Yes, if it's right after this call, I'll be on Lori's front porch. So you can find me waiting for her to come out with coffee. We'll be having coffee and hazelnut.
Yes, we will.
But other than that, if that's not possible, and it may not be because I think we're in two different time zones. So, but I'm on Instagram at Drs. Barnes. I'm on Facebook. They can find me under Sheryl L. White Barnes, and there will be links to my business page, Sterling-Xavier Consulting Group. So my website has all of that information, and that's at sterling-xavier.com. And I look forward, if they're interested, happy to add them to my email list and keep them posted on events, retreats, and master classes. Or if they need coaching, I'd be more than happy to explore that with them as well.
Perfect. And we will put all that in the comments so that there's an easy link, viewers, that you can just go tap on the comment and the link and it will direct you right to Sheryl. What last advice would you like to give the viewers before we end today?
My last piece of advice would be live today. We are way up ahead. I love Christmas. I'm excited, and I love Thanksgiving. But my life did a 180 turn into a deeper place of joy by me saying, I'm committed to living one day at a time. Today, I am right here, right now with you. I've got appointments later. Be in the present moment. In the present moment, there's always something to be grateful for. And just squeeze all the joy possible out of each moment, each interaction, each day. That would be it, to be fully present. I said each day, but if you want to even go even finer, be present in each moment. This breath, this inhalation And this exhalation, because it's not promised that you will get an opportunity to do that in the next moment or the next day. So if I could get the whole world to be present and fully embrace the beauty of right now, I would do that.
Thank you so much, Sheryl. It's been such an honor to have you here, and I'm going to make that work where I will jump on your doorstep and you can have your coffee and I'll have my chai, and we will continue this conversation because I am such a deep conversation and I adore you. And I would love, we need to make that happen for sure.
Thank you. I think if we intend it, we can make it happen. So we'll see. I look forward to that. Thank you so much again for allowing me the privilege of meeting with you in this space and sharing this with other people. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you, viewers who have been here joining us today, and also for those who are going to watch the replay later. Before we go, want to remind you just on what Sheryl said. Every single day, make sure that you are looking for the things that are working for you. Be in the moment. This is the Inner Enlightenment Show. I'm your host, Laurie Schoenfeld. We'll be back here next Monday at 3:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with Kelly Love. We will see you then. Have a wonderful day. Take care, guys.